Welcome back to the Core Cars News Tech Lab for Core Cutting Today, where we break down some of the biggest stories happening in the world of core cutting, including today. Roku got a new pause ad. Even if you're not using a Roku, it'll take over your screen and put an ad on it when you pause. We'll tell you what's happening. A major milestone in TV history has happened. One of the most beloved shows is having a birthday. And the U.S. Department of Justice wants to break up Google in a way that's going to have a big impact on YouTube. And let's be honest, the internet as a whole. We're going to break down these stories and more here in a quick second. But first, hey, I'm going to give you my opinion. If you want to learn more about these stories and have your own opinion, check out the show notes. And in the first pinned comment, I'll put a link to each story there so you can read them for yourself and come up with your own opinions. I'd love to hear from you. If you're new here, hey, consider hitting that subscribe button or hitting that thumbs up. Doing one or both lets YouTube know you enjoy what we do here, so they recommend our videos to more people. We post videos every day like this, breaking down the world of cord cutting, doing reviews, how-tos, and more. So with that said, let's dive into it. Roku has a new pause screen feature. Now, we knew this was coming. Some time ago, they patented the ability through HDMI ports to detect when your video you're watching, whether it be a DVD player or whatever, is paused, and then it's played on your TV. They'll put an ad over your screen in the corner. Now, Hulu really kind of dived into this, set the expectation with their Hulu on Demand quite a few years ago now, started putting ads on the screen. When you pause it, other services have done the same. And now Roku's doing it on their Roku TVs, even though it may not be a Roku. It can detect when what you're watching has been paused, and it will display an ad over your screen there. A pretty nice little feature. Downside to it, though, is some people may get annoyed by this. It really comes down to, we talked about this earlier with Roku buying friendly. The vast majority of Roku's revenue now comes from ads and subscriptions. A very small fraction, the reality of the big picture, is from hardware sales. It's hard to sell a 50-inch TV for 200 some bucks on a big sale and make a lot of money on that. No, they're making the money off the ads that come through it, and this is a new way to do it that allows you to go there and cover up part of the screen. I think they said about 30% of the screen when paused will become an ad, usually in the top right. It's funny, when these ads first happened, I think Charmin toilet paper was the first ad really displayed on this from Hulu. And now these ads have become widespread. If it's not coming from Roku, it's going to be coming from many other partners. We've heard many companies looking to do that, including Tubi and others with their ad-supported service. I've said this many times, ads are the way most of these companies are making money, not just Roku, but other TV manufacturers are leaning into ads to justify the cost of their services or their devices, and look for that to become more and more common. The big thing here, though, is even if you're not using Roku, it will detect it and put ads on there. Not completely new. I think it was 2019. Roku had a partnership with an ad that would air on over-the-air TV or cable, and it would pop up a little icon in the bottom left and allow you to click on it to learn more and find out more about that ad. Those haven't really developed from there, but similar technology is now being used to do the pause ad for it. Let me know, what do you think? What do you think of pause ads? I'm sure most people don't like them. Would you rather pay more for a TV? Leave me a comment. Would you pay an extra $100 for your TVs if it didn't have ads? I kind of like how Amazon gives you the option on its Fire tablets. Home screen ads for a cheaper price, or no ads, but you pay a little bit more. Would you do that? Leave me a comment. Let me know. All right, major TV milestone. 68 years ago this week, the final episode of I Love Lucy aired. One of the groundbreaking shows. We don't think of it much now, but it really did. Things like pregnancy and more was not seen on TV before I Love Lucy. And then it kind of broke the mold and opened the door for many shows to follow. 68 years ago today, or this week I should say, in TV history, I Love Lucy came to an end in 1957, May 6, 1957. All right, let's keep moving along. The Department of Justice wants to break up Google. Now, this is part of a massive antitrust that basically Google's too big of a monopoly. And with this, the Department of Justice is asking that Google be forced to break up their ad tech. Basically, all those ads, let's be honest, Google dominates ads. It's how they make their money. We just talked about Roku with ads. Everything Google does is powered by ads. And with the vast majority of it being free or low cost, they make most of their money from ads. including YouTube. They're serving the ads you see here that pay my bills and help me pay my staff and my take care of my family. Well, now it's being pushed that they're going to have to break this up, which could be interesting to see how that impacts YouTube, with Google's ad business being a fraction of the size of it that it is now, or if they even retain any partial ownership of their ad business. Will they be able to continue to use YouTube as it is now? I definitely think that this will be an interesting transition if this goes through. It's now up to a judge to decide. Google's made a counter argument that they should not have to do that. The judge is now considering what the Department of Justice says, and we'll wait and see. We do expect Google to be asked to sell some aspect of themselves. Android's been a possibility, and Chrome, where they spin off that entire division, which means things like Android or Google TV devices may be spun off into an independent company. We'll wait and see what happens with it. We'll have full coverage here as we learn more. All right, if you've been thinking about getting a new Roku, the new Roku Sticks are now for sale. I posted my review of the 4K stick yesterday. I'll have the HD stick review up live soon. If you want to find it in one of the corners, you can find a link to the review there. But Roku's new HD and 4K stick are replacing the Express line. They're very budget friendly out there, starting at $39.99 for 4K or $29.99 for HD. Honestly, between you and me, if you can, spend the extra $10, get the 4K. It'll be worth the money there on that. But it's a pretty nice little addition with it. Like I said, they're shipping now. You can find them over on Amazon. Link in the show notes to find out details about that. All right, we just talked about Google having to maybe spin off its ad revenue because it's become a monopoly, but now they want to get into movies and television. Google, according to a Business Insider report, is ramping up a division that will invest in movies and television shows for two reasons. First of all, they would love to get a return. If the show's a big hit, they could probably get a payout from their investment in the show as an investor. It is important to note here that they're not looking to make the shows themselves. They're looking to find existing projects they can fund with this. Now, part of it is they hope to use AI with this to make the stuff and to gather the data from it, to own some of the data from it, to help grow their AI with this. Doesn't surprise me. Google is looking to diversify, especially if they take a hit in this Department of Justice antitrust investigation. But movies and television is a fickle business right now. How that will play out, how YouTube will play in this is a good question too. But Google investing in movies and television shows to become kind of a producer and investor. Many movies, you may not realize that, even if it has a Paramount or MGM or another name, often has a group of smaller investors behind it that help fund that movie, hoping it will be a success and they can get a payday off of that movie. Sometimes it's successful, sometimes it's not, and you lose your money. It's the danger of an investment. Though a big successful blockbuster movie can make companies quite rich if they invested in it. Be interesting to see how far this goes, how dedicated Google is to investing in this. We'll have full coverage over at Core Cars News. So far, no specific projects named in this. We'll be watching it closely. All right, last story up. This one's kind of interesting to me. It's a little bit techie, but hang in here with me. There's an interesting part to this. The BBC is looking to cut costs for its BBC World Service. These are like BBC World News. If you live in America, you see BBC content here. Currently, it transmits this content through satellites to all countries around the world for a very long time. They've been doing this, allows for rapid, instantaneous delivery. Now, BBC is looking at stop and pay for satellites. It's quite expensive. And instead delivering a feed of their content to TV stations, partners, and others through the internet, cutting out the need for expensive satellite contracts and time, and cutting out satellite stations and more, replacing it all with internet. It's interesting. We're going to see more and more of this, I believe, in the future. A lot of television in the past has been beamed from satellites, which was groundbreaking at the time. The ability to have a sporting event in New York, for example, and watch it in California live in real time was groundbreaking thanks to the development of satellites transmitting these signals across the country. Now, though, we have the internet that can, for a fraction of the cost, deliver it. Look for more and more television stations to do this to cut out costs, reducing the need for satellites in space. Because as many people point out, these satellites have a short half-life. They don't stay up there forever. Eventually they break, or they just run out of propellant to keep them in the right position, and they use the remaining of it to burn up in the Earth's atmosphere. Be interesting to see how this plays out, but I suspect BBC's not the only one that's going to be doing it in the next few years. We'll probably see a lot of companies ditch expensive satellite dishes in exchange for using internet, 5G signals, and more around the country. So keep an eye on that. Not kind of technical, but very interesting to see the shift here. It could save companies a significant amount of time because time on satellites is expensive with that. All right, that's it for today. I hope you have a fantastic day. I'll be back again tomorrow with another video. Until then, take care, be safe. I'll talk to you all again real soon.